Parkland, Florida, about 20 miles northwest of Fort Lauderdale, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, attended by about 3,000 students.
Those who could ran, hiding in classrooms, even closets, while the shooting continued.
I'm coming out to the east side with the casualty. I need those stranded by critical.
It's become an all too familiar panic of students fleeing hands raised in single file, only matched by the images of armed tactical police racing into the building looking for the gunman.
Injured person, he's shot.
Description of the subject is going to be a white male, last name wearing a burgundy shirt.
Heard the shots and there was 3 people dead.
For like 30 minutes we were just like praying and crying and
So, throughout years, we have stood by as news of gun shootings and gun violence and school shootings and mass shootings have moved to the second, third pages of newspapers and at the end of news cycles. Thank you all for coming out here today to support your opinion and support our voices here and make them heard louder than any other voice against gun violence. Thank you. We got together to commemorate 17 lives lost in a high school in Parkland, Florida.
We now call for 17 minutes of silence for the 17 lost in Parkland, Florida.
Every single person up here today, all these people should be at home grieving. But instead, we are up here, standing together because if all our government and president can do is send thoughts and prayers, then it's time for victims to be the change that we need to see. My right to own a gun outweighs your students' right to live. All I can hear is mine, 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 mine. The students of this school have been having debates on guns for what feels like our entire lives. AP Gov had about 3 debates this year. Some discussions on the subject even occurred during the shooting while students were hiding in the closets. Here we are, with websites dedicated to recording these tragedies so that they can be formulated into statistics at your convenience. I watched an interview this morning and noticed that one of the questions was, do you think your children will have to go through other school shooter drills? And our response is that our neighbors will not have to go through other school shooter drills. When we have had our say with the government, and maybe the adults have gotten used to saying, it is what it is, but if us students have learned anything, it's that if you don't study, you will fail. And in this case, if you actively do nothing, people continually end up dead. We are going to be the kids that you read about in textbooks. Not because we are going to be another statistic about mass shootings in America, but because, just as David said, we are going to be the last mass shooting. Just like Tinker v. Des Moines, we are going to change the law. That's going to be Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in that textbook. And it's all going to be due to the tireless effort of the school board, the faculty members, the family members, and most importantly, the students. The students who are dead, the students still in the hospital, the students who are now suffering from PTSD, the students who had panic attacks during the vigil because the helicopters who wouldn't leave us alone, hovering over the school 24 hours a day.
The people in the government who were voted into power are lying to us. And us kids seem to be the only ones who notice and are prepared to call BS. Companies trying to make caricatures of the teenagers nowadays, saying that all we are is self-involved and trend-obsessed, and they hush us into submissions when our message doesn't reach the ears of the nation. We are prepared to call BS. Politicians who sit in their gilded House and Senate seats funded by the NRA telling us nothing could have ever been done to prevent this. We call BS. They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS. They say a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We call BS. They say guns are just tools like knives and are as dangerous as cars. We call BS. They say that no laws could have been able to prevent the hundreds of senseless tragedies that have occurred. We call BS. That us kids don't know what we're talking about, that we're too young to understand how the government